Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my quick fast playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 Black Ice and a bunch of other submods. Beginning of the fast playthrough, a detailed list. Version money for crude oil. No, thank you. Okay, small warship engine advance. Okay. Yeah. I think we're going to continue with pushing our sort of industrial / national infrastructure base. Yes, you may have fuel. Okay. No. No, cancelled. We have low popularity now. We're going to reorganize the war ministry, 50-50 chance. I don't really care. Well, recruiting time may hurt us a bit, but organization and whatnot, if that's not good. Don't care right now for a while. We're not going to go fight in any wars. Air bases, Northern Germany. Production, move to top. This is starting to worry because I think it's 430. We get over that in HE explosive. Cruiser. Okay. What we're going to do here is we're going to fall back to sort of full mobilization. It'll get us a little more money coming in. Won't need that, but it will reduce our ACs considerably, which is sort of the point. Do sort of like, I like the idea that you can't push the whole thing on, you know, wartime, full, heavy, here we go production in 1937 and such. I do like that. I think mostly they've gotten the balance right. Let's do supply production. Could use more supplies. Always use. There we go. Always use more supplies. Yeah, now we're back down to 366. Rate war analysis. We're analyzing the rate war. Okay. You can't. Okay, that's done. You can't call it World War I yet because there hasn't been a World War II to make it. But everyone knows there was a sequel. So good, they decided to have a sequel. Even more. Okay. Yeah, just a bit more of it. Okay, naval destroyer escort roll. Advance. Here, okay, 39. That's too far in advance. Let's come over here to, this is the last one, 37, carrier. Although we will get a carrier eventually, maybe. They have tactics advance. Okay. There were a bunch of technological jumps there. Let's just make sure. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Industry. Once it goes red like that, here, oh, well, actually, that's maxed out, so there's no reason to keep researching into that. Industrial efficiency. No, now we can push there. Germany just didn't have good. Okay, we're back to medium popularity. Did not have good industrial efficiency. Battle commander recognition advance. They just never really did. Now, I wouldn't put them as any major inefficient nation of the major nations we're talking about as efficiency goes, but just not overly efficient. More stuck on quality than quantity, and not really. And even when, because the US, I would say, generally speaking, had, why didn't pop up and pop? I guess I don't want that to happen. Equal quality, generally speaking. Sometimes I would say the Germans had better, but like in aircraft production, I think the US quality is equal to or greater than the German quality. They were just more efficient at it. Okay, so we like a bunch of money exchanged for a lot of crude oil. Okay, 25. That is too big, but we can continue to increase our stockpile and trading partner, which is getting very much. Buy crude oil. Let's, yeah, 15 money. The biggest element really for Germany is production is lack of efficiency, as they would have a machine tool set up to make a I don't know, Panzer IV, you know, the metal wheels that go on the tanks. And they go, okay, yeah, produce, you know, 2,000 of those. They grind out 2,000. Okay. And then, okay, that's enough because we need now half-track wheels. Okay, well, let's swap the machinery over. It's still that there are 6 more. I see some of the stuff I was worried about popping over if we didn't reduce our levels of rush production, rush development. I think this is from roughly the period. I think really hard to try to find early war photos of some of this stuff. Maybe not. Maybe no. I'm not sure on that photo. Try to find a photo of Kurt Student, the paratrooper commander, without his Knight's Cross. Is really hard. I wanted a photo before, you know, taking Belgium and whatnot. One of the earlier events. And so then they would switch the, you know, the machine over from making, you know, Panzer IV wheels or whatever I said to making half-track wheels. And make, you know, 1,000, 5,000, whatever, 10,000, and then switch it to something else. Where the Americans would basically come in, and then, okay, not necessarily go to something else. They would make, you know, maybe a big batch of Panzer IV wheels, switch over to making half-track wheels, and then, we need more Panzer IV wheels, so then you go back to making more Panzer IV wheels. And so switching things up like that. Where the Americans basically say, we need this machine to make this particular wheel for the Sherman. And they would get that machine going, making that wheel. And try to, at some point, I know this is the fast playthrough, we will be playing faster, try to make it go nearly 24 hours a day through, you know, round-the-clock shifts. And that machine is only going to make a particular type of because you have different wheel, you know, the different sprockets and whatever, but make that one part either until the end of the war, or they determine, you know, we have so many Sherman wheels here, if we made, you know, 10 times the number of tanks we currently have, we still can't even use all the Sherman wheels. So there is no possible way that we could ever use any more Sherman wheels. Okay, stop it, and then change it to something else. Basically, that's how the Americans did production, is that once you got a machine set up making something, they would just make the hell out of that thing until they really truly believed, whether that's always the case or not, whether they go back and go, oh shit, we put all the Sherman wheels on ships and they got sunk by U-boats, so we've got to start again. Or, you know, there may be real cases like that, not just something made up, that they had to go back and make more of. But they would just turn that machine on, making it the one widget, whatever that widget is, until they think they no longer need that widget made. Either they got so many of them, they don't know what to do with them, they can't even give them away, or no, well, we've stopped making Sherman 6 months ago, or whatever, and we just don't need any more of these things, and we're making breakthrough. Good. Okay. SS headquarters. Occupation. So it just that sort of efficiency setup. And also, Germans a lot more continued through the war to train up good machinists, good craftsmen that knew no longer receive a bunch of money. That's partly what I was worried about. And you go, well, isn't that a good thing? No, not in a wartime situation. Well, like the Americans did, and it's often highlighted with the women. Now, let's see, can we sell, which is part of my reason. They don't have much extra money, even though we're buying a lot of crap from them. They don't have much extra money, too. Okay. Okay, well, over to production, last big thing of that. Bye-bye. Is that they would train a worker to do one thing, work this one machine, know what to make and how to make this one thing. And yes, it could be working a machine tool, but they know how to work this particular machine tool. And they know how to make a specific part on this machine tool. And we're destroyer. And so they would get good at making that part on that machine tool. Now, maybe at some point they would get to where they no longer needed somebody making that part on that machine tool, and then they could retrain the worker to do something else. But they had absolutely no desire to make a good machinist, because mostly it was, you know, whether it was a man or a woman, but they were concerned at just making this thing, whatever the thing was, and do it well, clean it well. And sure, you need to have good machinists around to figure out how to make the part initially. Okay, to see. Yes, you can have energy. And then, of course, once you have a few people knowing how to do that one particular job, you want to bring on more people. They can train, you know, somebody to do their particular job. But they were just concerned with that. So you had a person who can just do this one job very well, presumably, generally speaking. And so, but might not, you know, not that they're, you know, they're human beings, so not that they can't, you know, without, you know, being trained, you know, detailed trained, not that they can't figure out how to do other machine tool jobs or something. You know, sort of learn on their own, learn by doing, or just since they know this one thing, can sort of observe somebody else do a different thing a little bit on a somewhat different machine, and then apply their skills, certainly. But spearhead advance. I'm thinking it's here. This is spearhead doctrine, and we're I just really like to know what we've completed, what I've completed, whatever completed, and then is it over? No, is it? Oh, it's over. No. Looking at armored spirit deep battle. I know we're just gonna be some of these lower ones. If we are looking there, operating. Shit. Oh, you're probably saying new game right in front of you. You passed it twice. Just expect it to be here. I just feel really weird to not know. Well, it's just... Okay. Spearhead Doctrine +1. Organization. Right, I don't think it should be here. So now I keep coming back here. Oh, there it is. Wow, yeah, you were probably saying, yeah, okay. So, right, okay. And so, yeah, I'm sure that there were, people, could pick up other things quickly, but I'm sure, it's not as absolute as I'm saying in any of the cases, but that's really what they wanted to do. Because of, like I said, switching between different paths. And if you look at the layouts of a lot of the tank factories, as he says, I've seen the photos, it's not that they're bad layout for the Germans or they're, entirely inefficient. No, nothing like that. But it's just not a model of efficiency that the US did achieve quite often, not just as some mythical goal. Now, like most of the railway engine manufacturing company that existed in the US get turned over to tank production once the US enters the war, because we thought more or less we had enough railway engines for now, and we needed tanks. And since one would like money for crude oil, no. They had big cranes to lift up big, huge engines and move them around the factory setup, as well as other equipment for bending and shaping, and moving around heavy pieces of steel that, like lifting up and moving turrets within the factory already. It made sense to them to just convert those factories over. And I'm sure that even once they sort of got them up and running and doing tanks, they weren't the most efficiently laid out for tanks in their tank production. Now, eventually, I think, well, I don't know, by 43 or for sure by 44, all but one of these engine production factories get converted back to making railway engines, because proper or designed to make tank factories have come online, and they are producing enough tanks. Now, just think how the German production office would feel. Oh, producing more than enough tanks for all that we need and all that our allies. We really can't effectively give more tanks to Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, even Italy, and even our Croatian allies, and maybe Finland. We've got plenty of tank production. We can, like, yeah, you got these 3 tank factories, make tanks. Yeah, make something else that's sort of useful. We don't need any more tanks. Just think, had the Germans or even the Soviets had ever been in that kind of state. Not that, oh, we need this other thing more. No, it was, we really don't need that many tanks being produced now. You can go back to producing something, yes, useful, railway engines, which of course is useful. We give them money, a little less. Okay, we'll accept that. And so, yeah, we got a fair amount. Let's come down to about 85 or so. Over to something else useful for the wartime effort. More railway engines to keep everything moving around America, and possibly ship some on. They do actually ship some to other nations as well to help them out. And it was just one railway factory that was noted for both its efficiency, I believe, but definitely quality of tank production, that they kept it producing tank. Brigade command structure. I think that, I guess, no, not there. There, and we'll let that continue. That was doing so well, as it were. Let's see, how is the US? Oh, they have a little bit extra. They don't have any extra. They're going to cancel if there are things with us, but so we will see if we can. Nope, that's an impossible level. There we go. So it's just like, hey, yeah, we don't need that anymore. And so that is partly what we're looking at with efficiency for the US and its production levels. And see, that's part of it. The US had learned very well how to manufacture things. And how to design factories to manufacture things. And that's part of what they did so well. You can both over-engineer and overbuild quality for wartime things. Over-engineer, well, yeah, I know this is the one. This is where I really stopped adding new stuff to tier E. So this is known not to have the text here. It's not a bug. It's just an incomplete feature. We can support the Arab uprising to get a little more revolt risk or not. We'll do so. One, of course, over engineered that can be bad for war effort is takes longer to produce something, but also over engineered may mean either more maintenance difficulty. The Sherman was particularly easy to maintain, to access. Things like the transmission or whatever, by just removing some bolts in the. We don't have money. At the sort of the front little bit of armor there. Okay, well, no. Let's look at Sweden. They have money. Can I sell you something? No. Do you want fuel? No. Okay. Well, let's go for. See if somebody offers me a good trade deal. Either more difficulty or more often to maintain it. And the other is overly sensitive to higher quality tolerances. Like the Luger pistol is known to be a very precisely machined weapon. And I know I've seen, we've done this drop test, or we've done this mud test in some of these videos. It's very real that they'll drop like a Luger into a bucket of mud. Not a great one because they don't want to ruin a high quality thing, but and it doesn't necessarily ruin it. You don't want to do it to a pristine model, but a used model. Drop it in, pull it out, sort of shake the mud off and see if it'll fire. Oh, well, and it still works. See this? Okay. Yeah, but there's the real thing is not so much just sort of the immediate mud on it and does it work, is the buildup inside the gun as you shoot the gun, because it creates its own dirt. Firearms create their own dirt from, the powder, as well as metal wear. When the bullet goes down the barrel, it wears a little bit of metal off. When it loads in, bullet casings a little bit, because normally the brass is the softest bit, it's shaving off just little teeny bits of my, brass or whatever. Just slight wear. It's just a little bit. So it's wearing on the system. And as the metal parts, the slide in the frame is I know it's a toggle system on the Luger, but still, the parts that move against each other maybe have the exact same hardness of steel, are moving against each other. They're creating a little bit of wear and friction, which create little metal particles come out. Well, all of that over time can create fouling in the gun and make it not work so well, jam more often. So I don't think a pure quick drop mud, because mud doesn't necessarily seep into everywhere. It's sort of like, oh yeah, I dropped it into a mud puddle somewhere in the field and then picked it up, or I had it in my hand and I fell into some mud and picked it up, and does it still work? Yeah, that is a legit test. But that isn't what I'm thinking about. Difference between a 1911, a good quality original production 1911, not that same gun 50 years later being used to the Army that's now loose, sloppy, and these guns suck. Yeah, all our 1911s suck. Yeah, because they're all made in 1945 and it's 1965 or 1975. Yeah, they do suck by then because they're overly worn and used, or enough of them are. That maybe to first glance they look fine, but they get worn inside and they're not the reliable levels that they were at original manufacture. But like I do believe the 1911 manufacturing tolerances is enough to be able to, the normal use, normal lifespan, deal better with the buildup of, and including environmental from the outside, dust and whatnot getting into the gun itself and permeating into it, that the oils will sort of get in there and attract and keep in there, and still function better than the Luger. So high quality tolerances in rough environments, many times, not always, may not be the best option for things. And the Germans liked that, and the Luger is just one example, just one I know fairly well. And sort of why the AK is so good is it's designed to have to function well as designed with looser tolerances, so that when you do get a buildup of whatever inside of them, and no, it is not the gun that never needs to be cleaned, or never should be cleaned, definitely. Cast pilot training, never should be, or never, I'm saying, you may be, because, we can see weird examples that are in Africa somewhere that get buried, literally buried a few times. Yeah, maybe in a sort of an oily rag, but not very well protected, and then comes another uprising or something, they dig them up and use them again, and they're just, you know, complete messes and they're still sort of functioning, yeah, maybe some of them can get away with never being cleaned, but people sometimes feel that it never needs or should be cleaned or whatever to continue to function. No, they need to be cleaned, but they need some level of maintenance to properly function, just rust and whatnot. An engine, because when you dig those examples up that still work fine, there's maybe half the number that don't work at all, you know. Twin engine ground crew. So, no, here. So you have that sort of a situation in which I'm going to do some of the prerequisites for other things first. Yes, we'll support various Nazi groups in Switzerland. And so looser tolerances for a bullet hose like the AK-47 can be a good thing. Looser tolerances, say, on a sniper rifle is not a good thing. You know, it's... And medium tolerances for things like training advance, for things like road wheels, track suspension, all that kind of stuff. No, is this? Yes, okay. 138. Yeah, we'll let that continue. Mountain HQs now. Let's see. We're going to go to SS HQs for 37. There we go. Get ourselves a few mountain HQs. For tracks on tanks, Germans developed some very nice interleaved designs that better spread out the weight of air superiority tactics. It's 38. So, and just again to explain some of my thoughts here. If I research this, it's not researching as efficiently as other things. But if I come over here, and like start researching one of these now, if I do, need to research all four of these before I can research this one, the infantry brigade branch upgrade and light infantry branch upgrade. So these are prerequisites for these 38 technologies. So I would rather do what I'm looking to find some prerequisites, get those done, like gasoline engines and track suspensions, before doing something just like tank destroyers. I'm not planning on doing the armored cars, which are sort of final designs, if you will. Not planning on doing infantry tanks. So that's why I'm not really focusing there. Yeah, I guess machines would just be sort of nice to do that. And so the interleave system is at least in the World War II era, a better system for spreading out the weight load of whether it's a tank or a half rack. And it works better, except particularly like if something gets stuck in, a big branch or rock, something big gets stuck in there that just by the way it moves, it's going to jam the gears up, where it's sort of the American system without that, less likely to get anything stuck in it. And two, simply mud and other junk that normally gets picked up and moves through there is more likely to build up and cause problems with it. So in the idea that, let's just say, Soviet, I'm going to try to pronounce this again, Prespetina, whatever you pronounce it, the Soviet mud situation. Hey, yeah, the German tracks will move better. But every 2 hours, you have to get them out of the mud and get a power washer out there to get all that, mud buildup out of the thing, out of the track. And then they'll work for 2 hours and then power wash them out every 2 hours or something like that to have them keep them at peak efficiency. Because yes, it quickly builds up, but more where the American system would be, yeah, it's not as good, but you don't have to power wash them every 2 hours or something. So it's a balanced situation. The U.S. type design is for tanks and half tracks and whatnot. One is probably a better balance between effectiveness in use and I guess we'll start here. Maintenance type requirements. So that's what I mean. And Germans have a tendency to over-design and do overly high quality. Have a tendency, not always, won't always be the case, around attack tactics. I think that's Blitzkrieg. That I know we're talking air, but okay. No, I guess not. Yeah, here we are. Well, one area of a significant nature is, I know I mentioned this earlier in one of the series I've done, so this is a test for people to see who's been paying attention and watching long enough. Well, one major area in Germany did they not over-engineer, did not go for overly high quality control, did not constantly change and switch production to something that's a little better, slightly better, improve it here. Just did not do any. That was a good quality item. It wasn't a junk item. That they just did not do that. I don't know about the efficiency of the production line itself, but in that they got to sort of basically one model, stuck with that model, did not try to make any improvements on it when there were known improvements, and I mean known improvements as in not like a new development somewhere or they saw a captured thing that was improved, but known improvements that were within their own nation and already produced by somebody else at some point, either before or during the war, that was better. But nope, they just kept this thing in production because it was good enough. It functioned well enough. It was reliable enough. It just did everything enough. And they just made basically no changes to it throughout the war and did it in the American fashion. And I'm not going to answer the question. It's you guys post below with the answer. Use your fire control advance. Post below if you want to get brownie points. Fire control, yeah, we'll let that. It's a 34 technology. Continue. Armored up HQ advance, very nice. See if any of you have been paying attention to all of the stuff I just talk on and on about. I'm sure one or two of you probably use me just to get to sleep at night because I drone on about this stuff too much. Yes, even when I'm playing a fast playthrough, I can't help myself to some degree. Still do the HQ for armor. I think it just appeared right there. Everything maybe? Yeah, maybe that too. Okay, interception tactics. We can do naval air. No one's come and offered me great trade deals anywhere. It's a brief bonus here for leadership from the event we just had. So yes, it will go away. Let's do if it begins. And you know, okay, events shape culture. That I think is cruiser crew training. Is an undisputed idea. Now, Germany just got done with and losing, so they did the reevaluation thing. World War I, and one of the things I'm sure they had to learn, at least at some level, now maybe it wasn't at enough painful level in a war of attrition, though they did, use like every rifle and pistol they could use in World War I that they could lay their hands on. Because you need a guy with a gun back in Berlin guarding a factory or whatever, because there's something that somebody would want to steal there, just take home and use, whatever it might be. And so you need somebody with a gun. And so, well outdated gun with just some bayonet on it, that's a single shot, breech loader kind of thing, is useful. And you need 10,000 or 100,000 of them, again, for, all the different factories and guarding bridges behind the lines or whatever it might be. Capital ship damage control advance. So, it's not that they were putting the old stuff into, did it gray out? It's over here. There it is. We're going to keep that going damage control. Yes, we want to do that. And it's cruiser ship, capital ship. Oh no. Well, did it gray out on its own? I don't know. And so it's, yeah. Right. Okay, we can. That's, I guess. And maybe because somewhere around 1917, 1918, Germany's got its production pretty well handled. Production levels. And I think it is more of a manpower issue maybe than a production issue. So that may, oh good, yes, we can give you lots of fuel for lots of money. We give them money for rare materials. Okay. No. No. Maybe it wasn't just enough painful, but I would have thought they might have learned the lesson better of the production war in World War I. Yeah, I knew we were going to use that. Okay, yes. Stop the Volkswagen anti-counter pack. God, we need something like that today. Look, we're now -5 because we accepted that other thing. But what I'm hoping to do here is, well, I have a little bit of money. Can I balance it off? Yeah, not that way, I guess, yes. Okay, Soviet Union, they have a... It's about 7, so that's... Yeah, right about there. Nope. would have learned the production lesson from World War I. So I guess it just wasn't enough pain. Special Forces unit in my notes. Maybe that's just the answer. They didn't have enough pain in that field in World War I to change their military production culture, like user training. But maybe someone who's... I like reading end results or watching documentaries covering end results. I don't really want to do the, research into whatever. My research is like I say, watching documentaries and reading, books and articles and whatnot like that, at least for most subjects. But it'd be interesting if somebody did a look at German production in World War I and what production, how much production limited Germany's actions in World War I. And okay, I guess, yeah, we really just are pushing into 38 technologies now. All right, well, that's fine, I guess. I just want to do things, well, there we go. 37, just be as efficient as possible, or as practical. Was it more, like I was saying, was the limitation on U-boats production efficiency, or was the limitation on U-boats more on crew size, or crew availability, or for a number of divisions? Was Germany like, hey, yeah, we have enough rifles, we don't have enough men? Or was it we have men but not enough rifles? Or, and now maybe, yes, you got a little bit of money. That may not be the good stress point, because rifles they may have down, but say artillery or artillery pieces or something like that might be the stress point for how many artillery pieces you have per division. Might be more the limiting factor. But look at all the various production elements of the war. And sometimes it may be more, yes, you can have fuel. More a limiting factor on steel. Because somebody, if you look at it, you may go, yeah, well, we don't have enough rifles. Well, the Germans making it out. Yeah, well, we're having the factory run at 2/3 the speed that we could run it at, because not enough, steel is showing up to make the rifle barrels, because you need relatively high quality steel for rifle barrels. Some of the other key parts, again, the trigger guard, the barrel bands, and whatever else. You could even use iron for a lot of those, but you'd prefer to use steel. But it can be sort of, if you will, and I don't maybe really mean this quite as extreme, but you can use junk steel. You can just use mild steel. It doesn't need to be high quality steel. It just needs to be something to have a barrel band. Okay, well, we've gotten to this, so I'm going to save here. I know made a save, but I think we're going to end this episode here. So thanks so much for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. See you next time. I think we've gone too far with some of this stuff. I'll check that out and maybe go back to the earlier save. No crashes, no problems. Seem to work good.